by Pecan Tree Lined Lane. I'm Larry Marble. It's time for the 3:45 or later edition of my program. Of course, we call it Down on the Farm Radio. Neighbor, let's take a quick look at ag weather for this evening. Partly cloudy and cold, light and variable winds, patchy fog toward daybreak. 41 in Abilene, 41 in San Angelo, 41 in Ozona, 41 in Junction, and 42 in Sonora. Neighbor, it's going to be warmer tomorrow. 67 in Abilene, 70 in San Angelo, 68 in Ozona, 70 in Junction, 69 in Sonora. Neighbor, it's about time for today's edition of Texas News and Views. I believe that Carrie Martin is at the mic talking about the Cattle Contract Library Act. We'll hear from Carrie about that piece of legislation after this word from our local Texas Farm Bureau insurance agencies.
When we moved to Texas, we were like fish out of water. We didn't know anyone in our neighborhood until our Texas Farm Bureau insurance agent came to the house. She was so helpful and reassuring, a friendly face with that Texan hospitality I'd heard about. When we purchased a Texas Farm Bureau insurance policy, we knew we were making the right choice. We knew our family would be protected.
Visit Texas Farm Bureau Insurance today at tfbinsurance.com to find an insurance agent who's a true neighbor. Coverage and discounts are subject to qualifications and policy terms and may vary by situation.
The Cattle Contract Library Act. I'm Terry Martin with Texas News and Views on the Texas Farm Bureau Radio Network. The Cattle Contract Library Act was introduced in Congress recently and is making its way through the legislative process. Texas Congressman Henry Cuellar says he co-sponsored the bill with South Dakota Republican Dusty Johnson.
But basically what this does, it would direct the USDA Ag Marketing Service to establish a contract library for cattle contracts. It's important because it will provide what we call price discovery or market transparencies as producers look to make marketing decisions and certainly, helps them negotiate the price of cattle.
Cuellar says the bill has bipartisan support and has a very good chance of becoming law.
It looks like it moved out of committee, so we're going to look to try to set it up on the floor as soon as possible.
The House Agriculture Committee has already passed the bill with strong support. The outlook is good for cool season vegetables in the Rio Grande Valley this year.
Despite a dry start for some cool season crops in the Rio Grande Valley and South Texas, prospects for vegetables like onions, leafy greens, carrots, and kale are reportedly good. According to the Texas A&M AgriLife Extension Service, some of the crops that were planted early in the valley suffered a bit due to dry weather conditions, but the recent rains have helped. Plant stands for the vegetables now look good in the valley, and the outlook is good as well, provided that the good weather holds out. AgriLife reports production costs for farmers have risen by about 30% over last year. Land rents have gone up, and adequate labor for vegetable farmers is getting harder and harder to find. AgriLife reports that farmers in Texas are expected to plant about 6,000 acres of onions this year and about 2,000 acres of carrots. For the Texas Farm Bureau Radio Network, I'm Jessica Domel.
Temperatures have dipped below freezing in much of the Texas Panhandle this week, and that increases the chances of cyanide or prussic acid poisoning. Hemphill County Agent Andy Holloway.
There's lots of Johnson grass. I've seen it all over everywhere, out in pastures, around well sites and bar ditches. And so any kind of sorghum plant, that could be milo for a farmer, it could be milo stalks, it could be Johnson grass, like I already mentioned. It could be hay grazer that somebody planted for hay. If a cow comes along and eats that right at the time of a freeze and that plant is not fully dead, there's the potential that she's going to get cyanide or prussic acid poisoning.
Holloway says a cow can die within 30 minutes of eating a sorghum-type grass after a freeze. I'm Kerry Martin on the Texas Farm Bureau Radio Network.
Texas Farm Bureau Insurance has protected fellow Texans with auto, home, health, and life insurance since 1952. With more than 260,000 square miles of land and 27 million people, that's a lot to cover. Whether you're wrangling cattle or wrangling kids, we're proud to protect Texans in all Texan ways of life.
Visit Texas Farm Bureau Insurance today at tfbinsurance.com to get insurance for Texans by Texans. Coverage and discounts are subject to qualifications and policy terms and may vary by situation.
Neighbor Hop Singh is ready to feed his kolach, and he's made plenty because he knew cousin Brian Lintzman from Seguin Cattle Company was coming. Brian, I've got 10 or 12 pans of kolach for you to take home to all the Lintzman kids. So while you load them up, tell us about the sale in Seguin this week.
Sale was good, Larry. Receipts were a little bit lighter today. I mean, everything going on between the World Series, start of deer season, and the weather today ended up with 545 head of cattle. Those 2 to 3 weight steers, $1.10 to $1.82. 3 to 4 weights, $1.17 to $1.94. 4 to 5 weights, $1.21 to $1.82. 5 to 6 weights, $1.17 to $1.55. 6 to 7 weights, $1.13 to $1.35. 7 to 8 weights, $1 to $1.30. When you get to the heifer mates, the 2 to 3 weights, $1 to $1.50. 3 to 4 weights, $1.21 to $1.65. 4 to 5 weights, $1.16 to $1.51. 5 to 6 weights, $1.17 to $1.70. 6 to 7 weight heifers, $1.05 to $1.37. Utility and commercial cows, 56 to 79. Really didn't have no high yielding bulls today, but top end of the bulls brought $88, and we didn't have no pairs, had 0 young palpated cows, but we had some middle-aged ones. They brought from 500 to 800. I think with the start of deer season, a lot of ranches have kind of cleaned them off, and, you know, if we can get our numbers down, the weather's right, people got some winter grazing. I think this thing's going to get a little better going towards the end of the year.
Sheep and goats.
Again, it was light, lots of good quality goats, ended up with 316 of them. Those good nannies from 185 to 260, with the kids bringing from 320 to 367. And you go to them Dorper ewes, they brought from 150 to 215, with the lambs bringing from 3 to 340. So, like I said, there is nothing wrong with the sheep and goat market.
Anybody tell you they're coming back next week with some?
I have not talked to a single person. Like I said, I think everybody's kind of split in town for deer season already. Yeah. Texas, it sometimes it's not called deer season. Sometimes it's called beer season.
Beer season. There you go.
Yeah, that one guy said, I'm not mad at him anymore, but he said, I sure like sitting around with the guys at the camp.
I hear that joke about the man he got to the deer lease, and they weren't going to go hunting. They were just going to go mess around. They got ready to go to town and party, and he realized he didn't have any underwear. So he got mad and went back home. And his wife said, what are you doing? She said, oh, the deer weren't moving. He said, besides, I didn't have any underwear. And he said, you need to pack better for me. And she said, well, I put them in your gun case by your bullets. We'll see you next week, Cousin Brian.
All right. I'm going to put on a bowl of stew tomorrow, so if you ain't doing anything in my neck of the woods, come on by.
I'll do it. Thank you, sir.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, Larry.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Neighbors, let's talk about a very helpful website, McCoys.com. That's McCoy's Building Centers. They're Project Central. In fact, you can go to their DIY ideas page and get all kinds of ideas, whether it's adding a deck or building a raised bed. In fact, their backyard projects icon is one of the best to tackle a weekend project. Outdoor spaces, just click on the deck design plans. Everybody has problems with a garage and workshop. Believe me, I know. Mine's pretty messy. Just hit the Storage Solutions icon. Or if you need yard care and landscaping help, Outdoor Plans is going to help you. And it's all at www.mccoys.com. That's McCoy's Building Centers all over this region. Find the one near you at mccoys.com. Neighbor, let's take a quick look at cotton sales. Looks like net sales of 139,100 running bales for the 21-22 season were down 61% from the previous week, 51% from the prior 4-week average. Increases were primarily from the Communist Chinese at 44,800 running bale, from India at 24,300, and from Turkey at 23,700. This next week, we'll see a supply and demand data report. Last month, the government tabulators lowered U.S. crop by 500,000 bales, but negatively cut the communist consumption by 1 million bale. Neighbor, let's take a short look at the grains. Corpus Milo, D's plus 85, 11.59. Corpus Corn, D's plus 90, 6.54. Houston Wheat, D's plus 70, 8.60 3/4. And Houston Beans, November less 20, 12.11 and a half. 6,462 bale of Texas cotton sold at 116.57. Neighbor, that's it for the best darn farm show in 100,000 square miles. No brag, just fact. I'm Larry Marble. You're my neighbor. Neighbor, good day to you.